We are live.
We're live.
Ah!
Welcome back. You're listening, watching the Nerdcore podcast reviews, movies, and talks that nerd shit. This is episode 335, and it is your final review of Science Fiction Month here at the Nerdcore. As always, this is the Nerd Chicano here to host the show alongside my wonderful co-host, Young Yoda.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Bro, this month has gone by pretty quickly. Not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's because we're quarantined or is it another reason, but this one went by fast.
I don't remember what day it is. I think it's Monday, but who knows? Time is a figment of our imagination.
Pretty much.
Time is a construct.
I wanted to give an update because we couldn't actually stream on Sunday because I had to finish my paper, and Brad wants to promote his other stuff on here. I'll promote my other stuff too. My name on here now is Listen to the Cinema Condition. Oh my god! All right, well we'll go.
I think it's funny. I think y'all should listen to Cinema Condition. There's been a lot of good shows. Yep. Oh no, that's the other one I haven't been on. I've been on the Cinema Condition. So
yes. Currently working on when I get back home, we're gonna work on bringing back the Impaired Files and scheduling some interviews, man, because I miss interviewing people.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to as well, because I really like the Impaired Files.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going ham once the semester's over. I'm doing,
I would like just to get to a consistent schedule at some point.
Mm-hmm. You won't just be seeing content on the YouTube channel for this one. I mean, I'm gonna relaunch my YouTube channel on my account, because there needs to be stuff on there, So my stuff like my 75 Falls from Asia challenge. I'm doing the reviews for those, and those are gonna be up on my personal channel. And I'm gonna be working on stuff at the same time and working on stuff over here. So we're gonna get back to our consistent schedule. Just let this semester end and get back home, and we can just get back to things as they used to be, because I miss how things used to be. Except that it's a little bit harder now because of the, lack of news. We can't really have a Monday episode anymore.
That's what we throw a view in there for.
Yeah, that's today. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what's it called? Let's be honest. This releases for the public on Tuesday, but this is up for the patrons on Monday. But we'll go back to how things were with the theme review and a Saturday review, and then of course the 3 episodes of live show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Cinema Condition and Structured and High Flyer Radio coming back to how it was in Impaired Files. So
I just want to point out that I did upload to my letterbox.
You did?
I did a 2020 watch list.
Okay, good. So because it's all over the place on your Twitter now, right?
Well, I totally just got read on the Twitter because it was bad. I couldn't find anything. And so I've watched 43 movies so far this year.
Wow, 43, dude. That's still a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still a good amount. So, Brad, how are we doing today, man?
Doing all right. I watched some good movies. Mm-hmm. Yesterday I watched Parasite. That was actually great. I think it ties The Farewell.
Wow.
That's saying something. I think it ties The Farewell.
Wow.
That's just how great that was.
Brad, so if we go back to time when we weren't quarantined, it was hard for Brad to find something that could even tie it, even come close to being as good as The Farewell was. And at one point I thought I had it, but then I rewatched The Farewell and I was like, it's just not possible.
The Farewell is amazing. I mean, that's like one of my favorite movies ever, to be honest. But Parasite, that is one of those good old kind of
just amazing.
It's not an action film. It's a thriller. It's one of the best thriller movies I think ever made, and it totally deserved every award it got.
Yeah, I can't remember where I put Parasite. I think I had it at 2 or number 3. All I know is I had it at 2. I'm sorry, I had it at 2. Yeah, so dude, it's just that's crazy because Brad was just nothing was coming to tie it at all. Like there was nothing that Brad could say like, okay, because even his number 2, he was like, it's just not as good as The Farewell. But this one was a tie. Like this could have easily tied for number 1
if I had watched it last year when it came out.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you finally got to watch it because I've been telling you to watch this one for a while, and it's incredible, and I can't wait for us to talk about it on Saturday morning review next week.
And then I also watched Tiger Tail today, actually, before I hopped on. Very great movie, great cinematography, very sad story.
Oh, I bet, man! I can't wait to watch that. And talk about it more.
If you want to watch a movie about a man with regrets, Tiger Tail is your movie.
All right, man. Well, I can't wait to watch that one. Sorry, I don't want to burp into the microphone. Sorry.
Take a
shot. All right. We're so as always, as you guys know how this works, these episodes are now live for Patreons early. We're like hours early. So, if you guys want to get in there first, all you got to do is join the Patreon, but don't worry about it. Especially because it's a pandemic. I understand why a lot of people cannot. But just in case, if you're wondering how to become a patron, just $1 a month. There it is. The link is right there at www.patreon.com/thenerdcourse. Help our guys.
We're almost into the 3-digit club on Patreon.
Oh, yeah. We're almost at the 3-digit club. We're 7 away from our next goal, which is probably one of my favorite goals that we've had set up. Is the whole audio movie commentaries and just doing that stuff, which it's gonna be great. I can't wait for it to get there so we can pause specific movies and we're like, you see this. This is where it got bad. All right. So, Brad, let's go ahead and do ourselves a favor and get started here. So if you've never seen Pitch Black, then this is your chance to get off because we're gonna spoil this and it's gonna get spoily in here.
Yeah, stop listening right now. Go watch this movie.
I can't believe this movie was made in 2000.
It's hard. Parts of it you can tell, but it's hard to believe. I think what throws people is it's got Vin Diesel in as the main character. but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
I got notes.
Let's go ahead and get into this. And if you guys don't care about spoilers, go ahead and keep listening. But after this point, your spoiler warning is in effect in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into this. Brad, introduce us to the movie known as Pitch Black.
Pitch Black, titled The Chronicles of Riddick Pitch Black. Yes, it's part of that whole trilogy or series now because, Fast and Furious started as a trilogy too, but we know what happened there. Is a 2000 American science fiction action horror film co-written and directed by David Twohy. The film stars Vin Diesel, Radha Mitchell, Cole Hauser, and Keith David. Dangerous criminal Richard B. Riddick Diesel is being transported to prison in a spacecraft. When the spaceship is damaged by comet debris and makes an emergency crash landing on an empty desert planet, Riddick escapes. However, when predatory alien creatures begin attacking the survivors, Riddick joins forces with the surviving crew and other passengers to develop a plan to escape the planet. Pitch Black was the final film credit of Polygram Filmed Entertainment, which merged with Universal Pictures during production. It was shot on the modest budget of $23 million. Despite mixed reviews from critics, it was a sleeper hit, grossing over $53 million worldwide and developing its own cult following, which I am a part of. Particularly around the anti-hero Riddick. A sequel, The Chronicles of Riddick, was released in 2004 by Universal, with Diesel back as the title character and Twohy returning as writer and director. A third film, simply titled Riddick, was released in 2013 with Diesel and Twohy reuniting again. And there's a possible 4th and 5th film as well, if you didn't know.
Why did they have to call the third film Riddick, man?
Have you watched the trailer of Riddick? If you watch the trailer, it's very weird because a lot of it looks like Pitch Black. I'm just like at the end of the trailer, it just shows images shot for shot that look kind of like Pitch Black, and I'm going, did they just cut and paste what? But
well, Brad, you want to go ahead and open it up with the initial thoughts here?
Yeah, actually, I do have some notes. If you give me 1 second, I did write notes down on this in my phone.
Okay.
The first note that pops up is Vin Diesel crab walking. That was lovely.
Yeah.
So just to start from my notes in the beginning here, I won't go through all of them because I'll talk about them as we get to it. But the first movie presents Vin Diesel in the anti-hero role he'll become known for. And, pretty much any role he takes on, he's an anti-hero. Dominic Toretto, that's an anti-hero. Yeah. It all comes, to me, it's really shown in his character of Riddick, especially in Pitch Black. That's basically where he gets his start. So I think it's cool to see where Vin Diesel came from and that he didn't just fall out of thin air. His anti-hero aura actually started somewhere. I really love the opening shot. Me and you talked about this with the pilot and her having to choose to jettison the survivors. And this film does something really different. Is they make her where she goes and decides not to do it. And then she's like, fuck it, I ain't dying for him. And then tries to do it. So that's very different because most films would be like, I'm not going to do it. And they leave it at that. And I think this film, you'll see a lot of the writing. This is some of the best writing I've seen in a sci-fi film. It's so good and so funny in places. Dislocation of the shoulder scene was dope. That Diesel just dislocates and like pops it back, and you're like, what the fuck? He's like Terminator.
He's incredible, man. He's incredible.
Like I said, the dialogue. There was one. Thanks for saving our dicks. If you caught that one, that was pretty funny. And I questioned if this was the first movie to use skullfuck in the dialogue. I'd like to think so. Cole Hauser is a great villain. He's amazing as the villain. That scene where they're showing the trees in the distance and then it turns out to be a graveyard. Just very epic. Of course, Riddick toying with them. Dialogue, paid a doctor, menthol cools to perform eye surgery. It goes on and on like this. But I really love this film. The whole reason that I wanted to do a sci-fi film is because I've been wanting to review this for 3 years since I've been on the show.
Just so you guys know, like I actually listen to what Brad wants. We haven't done the Kevin Smith month, but we finally got to do Pitch Black.
Well, we'll get to that at the end because at least we get to talk about one Kevin Smith movie. Yeah.
So this movie reminded me of the things I loved and definitely do not miss from the 2000s films, man. The early 2000 films. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite science fiction films of all time. But dude, that editing is so messy. I do not miss that.
But that's very 90s.
Yes.
Or 90s, early 2000s. And then the music sometimes too can be a little much, in my opinion.
Yeah,
definitely 2000s.
But too much. I do not miss that at all. But I think that it helps to build that kind of like that
anxiety.
That anxiety
anxious throughout this film.
Yeah. I just will say, dude, I do not miss that at all. I was so nauseous, man.
Parts of it. I gotta say, this film is aware of itself. It's really weird.
100%.
This film, like the characters are aware of itself, and it actually calls it out what other sci-fi or even what other horror films would totally disregard. There's the one scene where the captain, she goes. It's after that dude is murdered and pulled into the hole by the I call them pterodactyls because that's what I think they look like.
They look like pterodactyls.
They really do. And I even put the captain is dumb, and then I have to put right after that. But then she even says, "I'm so fucking stupid." So she is aware of how dumb she is being. and you don't really get that in sci-fi and horror. Usually they're just dumb. They don't really understand just how dumb they are.
I do love that this film is a mix between science fiction and horror because you don't see a lot of it. We're going to do Alien for the patrons, and that definitely is 100% sci-fi horror. Yeah, and I love that Twy understands how to do that, and the direction here is great. It's just that his direction is very fitting for the early 2000s. That very fast-paced jump cut. what's it called? Witty, what's it called? Lines being thrown in every now and then, but still going back to the action. I love this movie. I cannot help but to say really a lot of bad things about it. The only thing I can bring up is just that editing that I think doesn't hold well now.
Parts of it. I still think this is one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen, and it's one of the most slept on sci-fi movies ever made. People usually see Vin Diesel in the title and they're just like, Dominic Toretto ain't gonna go fucking watch that, and they're missing out on generally one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made for under $30 million.
I think it's crazy that a lot of people don't bring up this as one of the best anti-heroes. I think that there's so many moments when Vin Diesel is just playing Riddick perfectly. Just that whole moment when the ship, he's like, come with me, I'll even help you out. And she's like, just come in with me and we'll leave, because if you leave right now, I'm going to leave you here.
And do you think that was a test? I think it was a test.
I think it was a test. I think that this whole movie is just Riddick kind of toying with the loyalty of the people.
The one where he's in the beach chair just sipping while they're all looking for him.
Yep. It's crazy. Or the fact that he reveals that the guy is actually a girl, and I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 or 5 times, so it's not a twist really anymore. But when I first watched it, that was a complete twist that I wasn't expecting. Like, I didn't realize that was a girl the whole time for some reason. But then again, I was probably like 16. So I'm like, I don't know, it was probably a dude. Also for a sci-fi horror film, the deaths in this are really brutal too.
I did write this. So sci-fi film where a kid gets killed in such a horrific manner, that's unusual. Killing 2 kids in a movie is unheard of, other than The Green Mile. And 3 kids dying is just insane. And
spoiler alert, but the last film that I think did that I saw was Us, where they kill children. Yeah. It's like, wow, like crap. Like
it doesn't happen. And
this movie's really bold for its
especially in 2000s, early 2000s, doesn't happen.
It's really, really bold for its time, for sure. And I wish that there were more films like this, more science fiction films like this. It's very grounded. It doesn't really kind of expand more than it needs to. It's like we're on a planet where the monsters here thrive in darkness, and we need to find a way to get out of here before they kill us all. It's not that very high concept. It's not High Life from Claire Denis. That I love that film. I'm just bringing up different concepts that are kind of expansive. It's not Interstellar from Christopher Nolan. That's a very high concept film. But it's just kind of it's a very grounded survival based science fiction horror film, and it works really, really well for what it is.
Yeah. And it keeps your eyes glued to the screen. You're looking at, generally it's all fast paced with a few breaks here and there, but you don't get those breaks very often until it just turns into basically the creatures eating someone. Yeah. I absolutely love the canyon scene. That is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where they're going into that and you're just waiting for one of them to get picked off, and he does. Mm-hmm. You're wondering, are any of them going to make it out of this other than Riddick? Because Riddick's making it out.
No, for sure, yeah. Because the next movie isn't called Chronicles of Riddick for nothing, right?
Yeah. Then the death of the captain scene when she dies instead of Riddick, and Riddick's just saying "not for me," and it just that scene hits hard. It's good.
Riddick didn't want to. He's like, he would have wanted to die first instead.
Yeah. He didn't want anyone to sacrifice themselves for him. Yeah, because that's just how he lives. He's a loner.
Yeah, I also like the whole dichotomy with religion and him. He's like, I definitely believe in him and in God, but I hate him.
Fucker.
I hate him because of what he's done to me. And I really do find the character of Riddick really interesting. I think that this is definitely one of, if not the best role from Vin Diesel.
It is the best role for him. I'll say that. I loved the first Fast and Furious when it came out, but then again, I was like 20. But this is the perfect, and it's horrible what they kind of did with Chronicles of Riddick, because it didn't have the same action-esque to it. It was really boring and kind of got into the whole Star Wars politics of it. And that's not what Riddick's meant to do. Riddick's meant to be running and stabbing things and, you know, being Riddick. But I really do think that this movie, the way it does the night scenes and all that, I really do think whoever did Doom, they really should have gone off what was done in this movie for that.
Yeah, I think that's why he could have done a way better job on Doom than I can't remember his name. What was it? By the way, this one's also on what's it called? Doom is also on Hulu. Doom was done by Andre. God damn it! Fucking Russian names. Andrzej Barkowiak.
Are there any vowels in that name?
It's like two. Yeah. Andrzej Barkowiak. It's not Russian, it's Polish.
How about we just say go look at the Wikipedia and have a nice day.
Andrzej, I can't do this. I can't do this at all. It was done by him, and what's it called? I think 100%, Brad. If they would have had David Twohy do this one, do Doom, it would have been way better.
He just knows, because Pitch Black. I mean, it's literally in the name. Most of this movie is at night. So, and I mean, when he did these night scenes, I could see most of the action going on. He played it well, other than, you know, where he didn't want you to see.
Yeah.
And with Doom, you just couldn't see anything. It was so fucking dark.
You there, Rocky? Are you there?
I know The Rock's in this movie. I just haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, and I really like the lighting in this movie. Like, you know, just even though it's at dark, you know, they're not being like magically there's a light source right here. No, they're actually being smart about
the glowworm scene when they look up and there's glowworms. That's so smart. That's what this writing is just terrific.
Yeah, it's terrific writing, man. I'm telling you, it never does it feel like it's kind of being like cheap to be cheap, you know.
But it's like anything bad that can happen will happen in this movie.
Oh, because
as they're going, and then it starts raining, and you're like, yeah, y'all kind of fucked.
Yeah. So, Brad, I give Pitch Black a good old fuck you. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I think this is a great movie. I think that just the editing doesn't hold up. The music is great, by the way. I didn't know if I brought this up. The music is great.
It's just sometimes it's so intense.
Yeah.
But it's the scene. It matches the scene, so I can't say it didn't match the scenes. It gets so intense to what is already an anxiety-ridden film.
Yeah. Yep. I'm telling you, it's just I think just the editing is a bit too messy and convoluted, and I think that it helps at some points, but after a while it's like, dude, please stop, because this is making me too like.
I mean I'm not going to take any points off that, because that was a total late 90s early 2000s thing. So that's what was going on. And then they were injecting heroin into their eyes apparently, and editing crazily.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's exactly what that style is.
I mean, I want more villains like Johns, though. Like he just played the best, he's a piece of shit asshole.
The way he treats Caroline is it's terrible. I hate man. It's like he was the douchebag. He was the douchebag from the 2000s, 100%.
Yeah. But he played a great villain. The only question I have, which I'm still not going to take points off, is how the captain survived once that front windshield broke, because she was still coming in hot, and you know it was getting sweaty in that cabin. I think she probably would have melted. Yeah,
we're not going to bring physics into all this.
I mean, but they needed the character. Somebody's
plot armor, man. It's called plot armor.
Plot armor. Yeah. So I'm not taking points off for that. This is one of my favorite sci-fis. I think the dialogue is one of the best written. The script is one of the best written sci-fi films, at least in the 90s, 2000s, easily. Even now. I mean, this is one of those films with a low budget, with a cast of characters no one really knew back then, and it really should have worked. We've said this before. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that shouldn't have worked. It did. Yep. This is one of those films that just works.
Go Turtles, go.
And I give it a 10 out of 10. I just love this film. I could watch this like twice a year easy.
Two tens in a month. Yeah, that's crazy. And I got no single 10 for me this month. But I mean, hey, let's watch it La Jetée. Maybe my mind will change. But yeah, I mean, this is our last review for at least for the public. And I also got to bring up because we're gonna do our coin toss here to decide what's next month. Brad and I have decided that next month will be, because our months got all mixed up here, and everything was supposed to, because of the pandemic and movies getting pushed back. We were supposed to, have a pretty busy month next month with a different theme. I think we were going to get ready for a director month next month, but
that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen for sure. And I know that next year, we won't have a predictions, month for whoever wins, because there is no predictions anymore, because this month basically killed that for us. So it wouldn't be fair to just base it on one movie we get to watch in 1 year.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to agree on a month and go with that.
Yeah. Or the coin toss of who wins it, or if you would just want to just defact and be, you got Kurosawa this month, might as well just give it to me next, but it's fine. We'll find a way.
I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
You can have the next year.
Yeah. Just reset it in 2021.
Yeah.
But next month, we have decided that we will be looking at films known as cult films. Cult films are films that probably did not do well at the beginning, and they weren't that huge, but over the years, they ended up growing a cult following.
AKA Blade Runner.
AKA, we talked Blade Runner. Jennifer's Body became a cult film after it, and we did that one during horror month. So
that is still an amazing horror.
Oh, love it.
Jennifer's Body. I don't know how people can hate on that movie.
Yeah. So we've got some stuff here that we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and announce my picks. My picks are David Lynch's first film, Eraserhead. I have Showgirls. Those are my two picks. And then my Patreon mini, if I were to win it, is American Psycho. Brad, what are your picks?
I'm going to have to remember, but I believe my two were Clerks, Repo, The Genetic Opera, which I've never seen, and I totally forgot what the third one was.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
So Brad, we had a discussion where Brad was like, he really wanted American Psycho. So if Brad does win the coin toss, he has the right to either drop The Thing and grab American Psycho or not. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do here. But yeah, those are the picks for cult month next month. And Brad, let's go ahead and find out who wins.
All right. As always, Ro, you get to call.
I'll go with heads today.
Tails.
Wow. All right. So we will start off with Clerks. I believe next week. Yes, Clerks next week. Then we do Eraserhead. Then we do Repo, the Genetic Opera. And then the week after that, we will do Showgirls, and we will end with our Patreon mini. Brad, you make your decision here.
Let's do The Thing, because I'm sure we'll get to American Psycho at some point.
All right, cool. And our Patreon mini is John Carpenter's The Thing. All right, so with that being said, man, it's been a lot of fun, and we've had another fun time here reviewing a movie for you guys. I will say that we will see you guys not next week, on Saturday for a live show, because like I announced on last week, we're not doing anything on Friday, and I will come back to our regular scheduled programming on Saturday.
And maybe we'll have a desk.
You shut your mouth, man. You shut your mouth. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. As always, Nerdcore_ on Twitter, Nerdcore on Instagram. We also, want to thank our Patreon supporters who make this possible. Our associate producers, Cassie and Sarah. And then we have our executive producers, Grayson Barker 98 or Lord One Bar. That is Instagram and Twitter. Grayson, thank you for being the first ever Patreon executive producer. And then our other executive producer is Shane. And where can they find him, Brad?
You can follow our friend Shane at SWRKK Twitch or at twitch.tv/SWRKK.
All right, man. Go and follow Shane and show some love, as well as to our other $25 tier executive producers. We have Brown Rice 1996 on Instagram and Twitter, and also our Real Nerdy Dad on Twitter. Go and follow him. Thank you so much, Tony and Bryce, for being $25 tier executive producers. And we love you so much. And thank you so much for your continued patronage. And all the other Patreon supporters, thank you so much. If you want to join the Patreon and become a part of the exclusive club here that gets to watch episodes early, listen to them early, then you can go to www.patreon.com/thenerdcore. All right, Brad, it has been a lot of fun. And we're going to go ahead and see you guys until Saturday. But in the meantime, well, I mean, you'll listen to me on Cinema Condition on Wednesday when we do our review, our discussion on A Clockwork Orange from Stanley Kubrick. And it is the mid-season finale. And then that will take a break for 2 weeks. And then we'll come back in 2 weeks. But once again, you'll see Brad until Saturday, I want to say. So, with that being said, it has been a wonderful time. And this has been the Nerd You Got. I'm signing off. Brad, send him into the podcast void.
All right, Ro. Thank you for being host as always. Thank you to all our listeners out there, all our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. We look forward to talking to you every week and almost every day. Anyways, I guess to end this episode, I'll just say, looks clear.